In a moment of temporary insanity, I thought about buying a 4C. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Eat, Sleep, Drive. And I do a lot of videos on what cars you should buy or cars that are good value for the money. But this week, it's going to be cars that I would never touch or really recommend that anyone ever buy. Now, I've bought my fair share of questionable cars, like questionably reliable cars, like a super high mileage AMG or an E90 M3, or even an IMS bearing affected 911. These are some cars that a lot of people would say you should probably stay away from. So I have a fairly high tolerance for crappy cars, but these are some hideously unreliable cars you should stay far away from. We're going to get into it. They're super interesting and cool cars, but not worth the money and time invested. So let's just dive straight in. And of course, the first car is going to be a German car. It is none other than the B6 Audi S4. These might be super appealing to you because you would go on Craigslist and find this car $6,000 for like a modern Audi that looks really good, has a V8 engine, 4.2 liter V8 that sounds amazing, makes 340 horsepower, 0 to 60 in like 5 seconds. Like, by all means, it's a really amazing car. And I do like them a lot, but they have quite a few issues. The big Achilles heel for these cars, and the reason that you're not going to want to buy one, especially for $6,000, is they have timing chain guide issues. And in a lot of cars, you can service timing components with the engine in the car. But of course, this is an Audi, so you can't do that. So this car, if you have issues with the timing chain guides, and they are plastic and they will eventually break, you have to pull the engine out to do that. So of course, that's like at least a $6,000 service minimum, probably more like $8,000 at most shops. Just the components themselves are a couple grand. I have no idea why they're so expensive. But it's just a huge pain in the ass job. And it's something that basically all these cars eventually suffer from. And at $6,000, you're already looking at more than the cost of the car just to replace that or just to fix it. So, you know, that alone is quite a problem. Now, these cars also are going to have your typical mid-2000s Audi Volkswagen problems with electronics. It's a German car, so the bushings are going to be shot. People replace control arms on these like all the friggin' time. And of course, these things also burn a lot of oil. The valve stem seals are known for going bad on these. And a good friend of mine who owns one of these cars burns a quart of oil every couple hundred miles because the valve stem seals are so shot. Now, he owns it, and I'm sure he's going to make fun of me for putting this car on his list. He is also a tech for one of the more well-known Audi Volkswagen indie shops in the area. So he can do his own repairs, but he spends a lot of time doing them. So incredible cars, but stay the hell away from these things because you're going to be so enticed to buy them because they're so cheap, but you don't want to do that. Let's move on to the second, and I'm going to call this like a pair of cars, sort of. Really any modern Alfa Romeo. So the 4C that includes, and the Giulia Quadrifoglio. So the regular Giulia, I would say maybe, but the Quadrifoglio, you know, has this Ferrari-inspired engine, which is absolutely amazing, makes like 500 horsepower. It looks amazing. I mean, like, by all means, it's an incredible car. Of course, like, has that Italian charm to it. But with the Italian charm of these cars, the 4C and the Giulia, you are going to have Italian reliability. I'm going to start off with a story with this one. I was in a moment of temporary insanity. I thought about buying a 4C, and I wanted to rent one on Turo to see what they're all about. So I went to rent one on Turo, and lo and behold, I get a message. I book it and everything. I get a message from the owner, and he said, "Hey, sorry, like I thought I took the car down. It's going to be down for quite a while because I'm waiting for coil packs from Italy to arrive because the car has a misfire." Like, that's the big thing with these cars, is not only are they going to break because it's Italian electronics, but you're going to have to wait forever to get those parts. So it's the same thing with the Quadrifoglio. Like, you hear so many stories online, the diffs going bad, different sensors and odd things going bad. And it's not just the cost. Even, the car might be under warranty, but if the car's down for a month, you don't have your car for a month, like, what does that cost to you? You know what I mean? So even if you have the money to spend 80 grand on a new, really cool Alfa, don't do it, because you're like never going to be able to drive it when it's broken. And, outside of all the expenses and stuff, certainly don't own one out of warranty like I was about to do on a 4C. They're really cool cars and I really like them. And in a perfect world, I would totally buy one. But yeah, I'm staying away from any modern Alfas. Let's move on to the third and final car. This one has a bit of a fabled internet existence because Tyler Hoover of Hoovie's Garage had his burn down famously on the internet, and his is not the only one that burns down. Now, there are a lot of issues with this car. I wasn't even going to mention the power steering issues that typically lead to fires with these cars, which is certainly a cause for concern because it's happened to people, even famous YouTubers online. But, 60 grand for like a modern Ferrari, that's awfully tempting, man. Like, for me as a car guy, a Ferrari of any level is aspirational, especially one like the 355 that just sounds so sweet. It is a wonderful car to drive when it's working, but that's the problem when it's working. So these cars have a lot of issues. I will mention a few. One of them is excessive valve guide wear. And of course, being that it's internal to the engine, you're going to have to take the engine out for that. It's going to run you close to 10 grand to fix that. Another problem is the exhaust manifolds on these, even the stock ones, crack, and you have to replace them. And it's not like, it's a $500 exhaust manifold. It's like a $4,000 to $5,000 exhaust manifold. And of course, once again, you're going to have to probably import this from across the pond. So, those are just some of the big ticket items. But even if nothing breaks on the car, which is a huge ask, just to maintain these things is astronomically expensive. These use timing belts and they need to be replaced every 3 to 5 years. And that is an engine out service. Like, they didn't design the belts to be serviceable in the car. You have to take the engine out to service them. And of course, that's going to run you about 8 grand just to pull the engine out, service the belts, and slap it back in. And that's just to keep the car on the road if nothing breaks. So the cost to keep these cars on the road is just so high. It doesn't justify the driving experience. Like, I would say just spend more money, get a more modern Ferrari that they've sort of kind of figured things out, where you won't have to just be like pouring money into these cars, because the cars aren't appreciating when you do a timing belt service. Like, you just kept it running and kept it from not grenading itself. So, unbelievable cars once again with an exhaust. They sound amazing, but something that I'm probably never going to own unless I just have FU money at some point. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. There are plenty of other cars that you should probably stay far away from. Comment below with ones that you think I missed, the high dollar or super high ticket item ones. These are just a few of the ones that I'm gonna stay far away from. If you want to follow me in between episodes, check me out on Instagram at Eat Sleep Drive TV. Otherwise, I appreciate you guys watching as always, and we'll see you on the next episode.